Attention, all you fishes in the sea. Welcome to the Fisch Bowl with Sam Fish.
We have decided to go for crowdfunding on the new album.
Awesome.
So, I mean, if you want to get all the elements related to the journey, which is coming today, so we decided to think about the next step. So we have written since that's very funny because when we write, it's very often in the same time that we're doing some other stuff. So we started to write the new songs probably end of 2023.
Mm-hmm.
And we decided to go for crowdfunding, and so we launched the campaign. It has started already. You can find the link on the website of the band, piercefortomorrow.net. You're gonna get the link for the crowdfunding there, and we are very lucky because we're a huge fan of an Italian band called New Candies. I don't know if you've heard about them.
I'm in the process of getting them on the show.
And they are just great. And Fernando Nutti, who is the leader of the band, is just a great guy. And we've been discussing for a while together. We met when they went to France to play. And when we got out from the first EP, we were very happy about the production, the sound engineer we work with. But when we started to write the new songs for the coming album, we knew that the atmosphere would be a bit more dark. And that's what we had incorporated as, I would say, pieces of shoegaze and dream pop in the original on the first EP would be more, I would say, the backbone of the next album.
Okay.
And we were looking at someone who could help us to leverage it tone-wise and sound-wise in the studio. Because, shoegaze, dream pop, psychedelic music is not really part of the French culture.
No.
When you work on the environments, it's really considered as a niche environment, and especially in France. So to find the right people who has the appropriate background knowledge to try to help you and leverage what you try to do, it might be a bit difficult. So we've been very lucky to get some feedback from Fernando, who gave us the name of his of the New Candies sound engineer, Paolo Canaglia. And we got in contact with Paolo, and we started to work out the opportunity of working together on the new album. And he was very enthusiastic to go there. So at the end, we decided to go there. So we're gonna make it with Paolo. We're gonna record in Italy in September. So I mean, the New Candies are located in Venezia, in Italy. So we're not going to be very far from Venezia because there's a nice place where we can record there. So the idea was to really find the right team to support the new vibes, which are going to be a bit more dark. And you can see that. I mean, we released one song after the EP on the platform, which is called "Let It Rain."
Let It Rain, yeah.
Which is an 8-minute song. So when we pushed that on the platform, everybody was telling us, "Are you crazy?" Well, probably, but that's cool. So let's do that. And
we play a few new songs in
London.
We play in London. There are a few new tracks we're trying on stage.
To see the reaction of people. And Let It Rain is a kind of prequel of what could be the vibes of the next album. It's a bit more psychedelic. This song is a bit more psychedelic. So it shows the transition from the first EP, which was a kind of, I would say, a balance shoegaze / dream pop / psychedelia. And there we're going deeper into the dark side of the moon.
Yes.
Because that was the vibes.
That was the mood when we wrote the songs.
Yeah, that was the mood we had. That's still the mood we are in. That's the journey we are in. And
it's a bit more desperate.
Yeah, it's a bit more desperate, but still with some nice, I would say, mountains of hope, but few as compared to. So
we are still dreaming.
We are still dreaming, but the more we do it, the more we are. I would say we are dreaming, but as pragmatic dreamers the more we are evolving, the more we consider that the options are not that as many as they were some years ago. So it's a bit more, I would say, pessimistic, and which brings a nice way to be a bit angry.
Yes,
and
anger. It brings a bit of anger in the songs as well.
Yeah,
so
and brings some energy and more noisy energy as well. So that's going to be the backbone of the new album, and we plan to record 12 songs. We don't know yet if we're going to release it with one album or two. We haven't finalized that yet. We are still in the step of finalizing all the songs to be ready to make it in studio. And there, where it's a bit different from the original EP, where I wrote that on my side with Natalie, then it's a bit more collective, and the teamwork. Even if I brought the songs to the band and Natalie's bringing the lyrics, since we've been doing that since the very beginning of the process, since we did that, we started it early.
Everyone's bringing ideas.
Yeah, we had more availability from people, and then everybody has been able to cooperate to the, I would say, to the evolution of the song till the ending results. And so we are now in the phase where we're preparing. So all the songs have been done roughly, but we organize four sessions all together before moving in September into studio in order to be very, very clear on the pre-production, to be as much as efficient as we can in the studio. Because since everything is founding by ourselves, we don't have the support of a label or a partner. So like every band who is working in do-it-yourself mode, you need to be efficient.
Right,
you need
right.
to be efficient. Otherwise, it's going to kill you. So she's putting on my shoulder just to say stop speaking.
You're speaking.
No worries. That's all really exciting. I can hear everything you guys were talking about. And Castle Rock, I wanted to plug the EP there. And in fact, I wrote down the list of tracks that are on there in the order that I rated, basically, 1 to the end of the EP. But Sometimes I think is a perfect opener for the album. My number one, which I kind of have to group the two songs together, is Drop Us a Line and Lovers.
Okay.
Those two are like I just think they go together. I would put the final track, Shadow Play, at my number 2 favorite from the album. I would put Castle Rock at number 3, and it's a phenomenal EP. The only song that didn't really, not that it didn't really resonate with me, it just, I enjoyed the other ones a little bit more, is We'll Be Right Back. But still a great song. Not, putting it down in any fashion. It just, I really liked Drop Us a Line, Lovers, Shadow Play, and Castle Rock as like my top favorites off the EP. But it's all in all, it is a really phenomenal EP. And also, I have to put Let It Rain as like its own thing, which I also have like, I've interviewed a lot of bands that are like not just with like the shoegaze, but like kind of like stoner rock and neo psychedelia and kind of the heavier, like old school Sabbath sounding vibes and stuff. I grew up like my dad, was born in 58. So he, grew up with like all the 60s and 70s stuff. He was a big Frank Zappa fan and got me into Zappa. And he saw Zappa live. He saw Zeppelin live. The Who, like the only one he didn't see was like And he told me this story where his cousin, who we just reconnected with, went to see the Doors, and he missed an opportunity where he could have seen the Doors, and then the other ones like Jimi Hendrix, he was too young for, but pretty much all like the later half of the 60s into the 70s, he's seen all those bands live.
Which is enormous when you think about that.
Right. And then thus when I was a little kid, talk about the British invasion, like that's what, our minivan was, filled with. I was, in kindergarten and first grade, he was the stay-at-home dad, and, he'd pick me up and we'd be listening to Tommy and Who's Next and, Beggar's Banquet and, like all the, classic 60s stuff, 60s and 70s, and then
you've been fitted with bad influences.
Well, you want to talk about bad influences? He also let me watch Total Recall when I was 5 years old. So,
I understand the reason why you are talking about Mission now.
My dad's philosophy was like, introduce him to all this stuff. I like just, cut out the nudity until he's a teenager, or also have some explaining to do at school. But my dad is a great guy, and my musical knowledge and appreciation for music and film has gone way beyond whatever he intended.
He opened the door for you, in fact.
Exactly. And like to my dad, he's of the old generation where it's like, if like by your 30s, you basically stop being in touch with like what's relevant. And I like to think that, I'm 37 now, and with like with Spotify and Bandcamp and, social media, I think it's a lot easier for someone my age to kind of be more in touch with like what is relevant and to continue to stay in touch with what's relevant. And literally, since we're like about to experience like the next, movements of rock, I like to think I'm just old enough to kind of like still be able to go to shows and, actually do one better and interview people like you and, who are really part of the next movement. So, and to help, spread the word and, music and, everything. And, I think music is very important, besides,
that's the reason why we call the band Pills for Tomorrow. I mean, the idea was to try to provide people with a nice window to forget about reality and take their pills as a song, as a prescription. That was really the purpose, and that's what we try to do.
It's also because for me, and I think for other members maybe, when I go to see a live music show, it's exactly what's it's doing for me. It's healing.
Exactly.
It's healing at that time. It's healing.
Exactly. And and they talk about like they're just looking into this, like, I mean, not to go conspiracy theory, aliens, pyramids and all that.
No, you are in the moment. You take the moment. You stop thinking about.
But they actually think now that like how were the pyramids built? Nobody can answer that. And a lot of people in that field theorizing that it was done with sound, like sound movements, vibrations, and they even have like in that movie Minority Report, there's like what the six sticks, where they it's if they apparently are trying to come up with something where like
that's really funny, because when you say that, it means that those guys are very scared by the power of emotion.
Yeah.
Dramatically scared by the fact that people, if they connect back to their emotion using music, can
It's dangerous.
It might be dangerous because it might open your eyes to the distortion between what you deeply expect,
feel and expect,
as compared to what you are looking at and what is proposed to you. But the problem there is that you are in mission, but you have the ability to be curious, to be to be in motion, to work out, look after, try to discover, which is a very active behavior.
Mm-hmm.
And where it's a bit more complicated, it's when people are listening to music as a passive behavior. I mean, just taking it like it's pushed by the radio in the perspective of getting it as a background music, or trying to connect with their emotion, but without any introspection. And that's part of our music as well. And that's melody brings emotion, but if you are not connecting emotion to your brain in introspection, and the introspection can be your experience, what you deal with, and everything else. If you don't have the three pieces of triangle, for me, that's where it does not resonate. And you need to get that vibe driven with the fact that it touched something in your brain, which is aligned with your emotion. If there's no alignment, if it's pure emotion, you're not going to keep it. You're going to be passive. You're never going to try to make the effort to try to look after things which might be in the same direction, because it gives you some resonation. And that's also what we try to do with our music, which is trying to.
I do not agree.
I know. She told me that she doesn't agree.
I do not agree.
But there's a big piece of introspection melody-wise for me as I write the song, and it needs to be the magic triangle for me is that combination. In fact,
I can definitely agree to a lot with that. I mean, for me, it's like specifically when I listen to seems to be like psychedelic rock. I think there's something about the more, I don't know how to phrase it, like the psychedelic melodies, and like if whether if you're smoking reefer or just doing whatever and absorbing it in your own way, I definitely feel that it can trigger certain endorphins in the brain that bring out creativity, inspiration, positive vibes, positive feelings, like just genuinely like positive emotions. And there's also like again on the whole what you're talking about with tone, certain tones with psychedelic rock. 'Cause there's a band I just did an interview with. They just put out their debut album called Pink Breath of Heaven, and they're from Texas as well. And I was listening to their album on repeat a lot, and the I guess tonal shifts. I'm not sure. I didn't study music, so I'm not sure how to like properly use like the right phrasing of words. But basically, like it goes kind of tonal from up to down, and like the melodies go back and forth, and that like her album basically like it not only triggered like what you said, an emotional response. It was like it actually in my head there were certain songs that I was like, this just reminds me of a better time in my life when I was younger, and things weren't as crazy as they are now. Life wasn't crazy as it is now. Like something about like
It just gets you out of it gets you out of the current mess. It
Yeah,
allows
exactly.
on top of that and to extract yourself about that, and at the end, that's the idea.
It's what we want to do, with a bit of anger, a bit of melancholy and stuff, but just take the people out of the current mess, just for a moment. So
exactly,
and it works for ourselves.
Works for
us. For us, I mean, when
we're playing, it works for us.
When we write or when we play, and when we write and when we compose, I mean, it's really it's like if I was having a big pills allowing me to look at things on much more better way, with much more hope than I could have on a very rational approach. It just bring up the fact that hope is still there, and you still think about humanity and in a good dimension of what it means. So every time that music resonates, it brings back what might be considered as the essence of the best thing humankind could deliver. And because on the day-to-day basis, you just have to look at the reality, which is very obvious, the worst piece of humankind. Okay, so
at the moment,
so, and the more and those coming years are just crazy. I mean, it's just the more we are evolving, the more it's difficult to understand.
I was going to say, because I actually said that in another interview. It's like the more we're evolving, the more we're de-evolving.
Yeah, it's just
it is.
Where everybody's talking about science, everybody's talking about the ability of supporting evolution, giving the better
AI and all that.
The more you're giving means to people, the worse the behavior are.
Yeah,
and it's just collectively speaking, it's total. If you just think about humanity in terms of collective expectation, it's a total failure. Just the more we are evolving, the more everything is dedicated to the person. The collective dimension is ignored.
And it's a fight for us as well, because the journey with the band is on a collective basis. And it's also a way of saying we still can do music with people.
Hey there, all my fishes in the sea. Thanks for tuning into today's episode and for being a subscriber. Your continued listenership and support means the most and helps keep the show growing to deeper and deeper depths. I want to let all my guppies in the sea know the Fisch Bowl has now officially partnered with FastCustomShirts.com, where they're now selling custom Fisch Bowl t-shirts under their podcast and website section. Every t-shirt that's purchased helps and goes a long way to keep the show growing to deeper and deeper and higher depths. I also now have custom hats, beanies, handbags, pens, mouse pads, everything to make you look like the coolest looking fish in the sea, which you can DM me directly on Instagram at the Fisch Bowl 88 or on Facebook at just the Fisch Bowl, or you can friend request me, Sam Fish, directly and get yours today. Your continued listenership and support again means the most. It's the most important fishes that flock together. We are a school of fish and we keep the unit going. Let's all keep swimming upstream.